Hello and welcome to the creaking salt-soaked tables of the Brazen Hydra pub in Bilgewater. We're your hosts and Grovan.
Conquest!
And today we'll be sharing a pint and talking all things Runeterra and beyond. So kind of actually an exciting video. I've got some speculation with 2XKO. They got the Alpha Lab coming out. We'll talk a little bit about the Alpha, how you can get into it. Make sure you're signed up, by the way. Sign up now. And then a little something interesting when it comes to the survey that you have to fill out. Then I want to talk, honestly, a little bit of Wild Rift. Wild Rift is, I didn't even, when I first started getting into Riot games, I didn't realize that Wild Rift was a thing because it's basically the mobile version of League of Legends. Why would I ever play that? Honestly, it's worth the time investment. Like it's got some nice stuff to it. A lot of stuff that I think is better than League of Legends. Then and then I want to talk about Warcraft 3 and why they should bring into League of Legends like that style of game and give us some more lore. I mean, the Aurora event was awesome, but I want more. I really want more. And then we'll run on a tangent, obviously, as we always do.
Of course. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about MMOs for like 40 minutes. Then we'll get to those topics.
That's usually how it works. But first things first, let's talk 2XKO Alpha. So 2XKO team released a tweet, I think it was earlier this week or last week, about the Alpha Lab. And you have to sign up for it now, but then you can sign up for it, but the registration opened on June 26th and it will close after the Alpha Lab begins. And between registration and August 8th, you'll receive a survey with an email inbox, which I got the survey right away, which I want to talk about it. Players who are selected to participate in the Alpha Lab will receive an email invitation that includes information on how to download the game. The first round of invites will go out to Alpha Lab at 1 p.m. Pacific time on August 8th, 2024.
Oh, man.
So I'm excited. Yeah. So I definitely want to get into the Alpha Lab. You can play on PC, Xbox, or PlayStation 5. If you're on a Switch, tough luck. Like, I don't know if 2XKO will ever come to Switch. Maybe. It seems like
let's
every
be honest,
game ends
even
up
if
on
it
Switch
does,
eventually.
Yeah, but even if it does, it will not be the way to play the game. That's for sure. If every other fighting game is anything to go off of, the Switch version is usually not worth playing if you want to play the game and have fun. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah.
But Alpha, dude, Alpha's a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I mean, the Alpha's excited. I'm excited for it. It's going to be August 8th to the 19th. I definitely want to get into it. Even if we don't get into it, apparently they're going to allow people to stream it. So you are allowed to stream. So I'm sure you'll be able to see people playing the Alpha no matter what. But I want to play it myself. What I wanted to say is that you get a survey, and I wish I screenshotted it. I signed up the Brazen Hydra email for the 2XKO Alpha 2, hoping that I'll get the survey again. Because in the survey, there was a question that asked, would you be interested in a PvE mode? Or how do you feel about like single solo player stories in 2v2 fighters? It was something along those lines. If I get the survey and you're in like the shorts channel, you'll see I've like included it in the video. And this made me think like they're already thinking about some PvE mode style game mode that they're going to include, which I think 2XKO needs. Looking at Legends of Runeterra, like Legends of Runeterra, they're really heavily focused in on the Path of Champions, which I'm going to be honest, that's all I play. I never play PvP mode because I always feel like I don't want to like pay a bunch of money to get a bunch of cards in a digital card game. It just never interested me. Even in Hearthstone, which I used to play, I never played the PvP mode. But the Path of Champions is amazing. That's like a PvE mode within Legends of Runeterra. And same thing with 2XKO. Like I'd be more interested in the PvE mode than I would the PvP, even though I would play both.
Yeah, I think you're definitely not alone in that. I think, I don't know, dude, outside of shooters, I feel like PvP is really not preferred compared to PvE for the vast majority of people who play video games. That's like for every fighter I know of, one of the most common complaints I hear about is, oh, there wasn't enough PvE content. Like there wasn't enough single player stuff to do in this fighting game. Yeah, it's a very, very common complaint amongst the masses. Like it's really shocking how often people do not actually care to climb the ladder in fighting games. They care about the arcade mode. They care about the campaign. They care about what kind of content they can experience. Like that's much more important to the vast majority of people who play fighting games. And they're all, on that pretty casual level. I think it's just the general mainstream. People do not like the idea of like a hardcore, like competitive game. I feel like it pushes away people, and especially in a fighting game. Fighting games are very personal. Like MOBAs, I think MOBAs are way more accessible to people because if you lose, you have four people to blame. If you're in a fighting game, if you're playing a stick fighter and it's a 1v1 scenario, you are directly fighting this person personally and you lose, that's on you. That
You're gonna have to hold
like
that
I'm
L.
dead serious. Yeah, I'm dead serious. That's how it is. I feel like there's a lot more pressure in fighting games. And that's a big reason why. And also just because fighting games have a much bigger learning curve, right? You're a lot more likely to get straight up like stomped and have no idea what even happened the whole time in a fighting game compared to like I feel like MOBAs in general, like team games, are just a lot easier to get into. Team games are way more friendly when you're starting out. Fighting games have a very hard cutting line when you first start out, especially. So most people will gravitate towards the PvE content, vast majority. So
And you know
the
that's
idea
what
that
they
2x
keep
scale will
talking
start
about.
without it would kind of be scary for me. Yeah, I feel like that would not be good for the game at all if they did not have any PvE content.
Yeah, and that's I think that's something what you just said is they say it a lot. Like they've constantly reiterated how much they want 2XKO to be new player friendly. Like they want 2XKO to be a new player can come in and have fun and play with a player who's a veteran. And they basically say you can get into the game very easily. And they were talking about these combos where basically you can press the same button a couple of times and it'll automatically like an auto combo. But
Oh
then
yeah,
if you turn that auto combler, what I don't know how to, I'm like slurring that word, auto
auto
combler.
comboer.
I can't, auto combler. Yeah, what the heck? Yeah, auto
Where'd
combler
the L
off.
come from?
Uh, yeah, I don't know. You can turn it off, and then it's like you can do more. Even if it's on, you can still finesse and do like the same stuff that you would be doing normally with it off. But it's kind of a way for new players to make the game more new player friendly. And I feel like every single video where I've seen 2XKO people talking about the game, they talk about very new player friendly, but with a lot of depth. Like, it comes off
Mm.
as simple, so a new player can jump into it easy, but then it goes very deep. And that's maybe I've never been in like the fighter scene as much as you. I feel like you know more about that genre and that community than I do. But it seems to be a common problem where it's tough to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like that sort of like auto combo game has been a very common trend recently. Like Mortal Kombat 1, Dragon Ball Fighters does it where you can just like mash a single button, your character will do a full combo. I can't even think as far back as like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, the really bad Marvel vs. Capcom game. That one also had very strong auto combos that you could perform. I think even Street Fighter 6 straight up has like a baby mode where you can just mash whatever buttons you want, and depending on where your character and the other character is, they'll do certain attacks. You know, like if you're far away and you mash X, your character will do like a freaking Hadouken. Compared to if you're up close mashing X, they'll do
Hadouken.
punches.
Wow, why does
Yeah,
everyone know that? Even I know that. Hadouken.
Hadouken's always been a thing. That's like Kamehameha, right? Like everyone just kind of knows it. But like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's been a really common thing
Nani?
lately, and it makes sense. Nani? It makes sense because yeah, at the end of the day, I feel like the fighting game scene is not as big as people like make it out to be, in my opinion. I mean, like there are always gonna be those big tournaments. You're always gonna have like Evo, where you're gonna see a massive group of people all playing fighting games, right? But that's like the
Hmm.
entire genre we're talking about, and it's all culminated in that one like time every year, along with a couple other events. But like in terms of actually like widespread as a genre, it has never, I feel like, hit the big mainstream. The closest thing I can think of is like Mortal Kombat and maybe Street Fighter. But I feel like Mortal Kombat especially is the only game I can think of where I'll see like random people out of nowhere run Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. And
So
and I
like
will say this though. They have a chance to like bring this genre to the forefront, just like World of Warcraft. I realize that we talk about World of Warcraft a lot, but just like World of Warcraft brought the MMO genre to the public, to the masses, to the casual player. That's I think their goal with 2XKO. That's Riot Games' goal is to bring fighting games to the casual player.
I can see that. I mean, hey, they definitely did it with League, right? That's for sure. I don't think the MOBA genre was nearly as big as it was until League came along. So
Oh heck no.
it's yeah, Riot definitely has the capability to come into a whole new genre and become a trendsetter. Valorant is also a very good example of that. I mean, like, granted, I think that like competitive type shooter that Valorant is was already very big when it came onto the scene, like CS:GO. But
Yeah.
they really know how to come into any genre and stand on their own. So I think they're capable, and we'll see a lot of whether or not this game is going to really go somewhere in the fighting game scene with this alpha, because I think especially with games like this, the alpha is going to have a very big impact on whether or not people buy this game when it drops. Right? Like
Yeah.
alpha is not just a place for testing, it's a place where people are going to look at it and decide if they want to get the game or not immediately. Even though it's called alpha, people are going to look at the game and judge it off of what it is when it's an alpha
Yeah. No,
stage. That's
it's
just
never an
how things
excuse to
are.
say it's an alpha. Even though it should be, it's never like you can't. I feel it's always a cop out to
I
say, oh,
mean,
but it's alpha. Oh, but it's alpha. At the
I
end of
mean
the day,
for
we're going to
me,
look at it and give our opinion.
yeah, for me it depends on the NDA, right? Like if they're saying, "Hey, if you're testing this game, you're not allowed to talk about it, you're not allowed to stream it," then yeah, I feel like it's not too fair to for random people to be judging it, because like
Hmm.
they don't even want people talking about it. But in this case, only people
True.
stream it. If only people stream it, that means they're ready to show people the game. Like they're confident
Yeah.
in it that people are going to see it and they're going to like it. So I'm pretty sure Riot knows what they're doing in this case as far as the alpha goes. Like they know people are gonna judge the game come August, and we will too. I'm
I
super
hope
curious
so.
because like yeah, because we'll see a lot of raw gameplay now. We'll see people's actual opinions on how the game feels, and that's like something that we don't really hear about yet because we've just seen gameplay footage. We don't actually know what the game feels like when you're actually in there hitting those buttons. So I'm
Yeah. I
excited to see what
really
people's
hope that we get
opinions are
in.
on that. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
if we get
One
it,
of
oh
us.
my god, dude, I'm about to try every character, push every single button 10 times over, and be like, is this good? Did Riot do a good job here? I'm about to deep dive.
I mean, I'm more excited for this fighting game than I've never been excited for a fighting game or in the fighting genre before. I mean, obviously, I'm pretty biased because I love Runeterra. I did in the meantime, I do want to mention one quick thing, and this is not like promotion or anything, but I realize it's going to sound like that. The Steam summer sale is going on now through July 11th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and you can get all the Riot Forge titles 50% off. Bandletale,
Ooh,
Convergence, Hextech Mayhem, The Mage Seeker, Runed King, Song of Nunu, every single one 50% off right now. And
dude, I'm amazed
all
that they
of
did not
them,
miss with any of those games. They're all hits, every
yeah,
single one of them.
I really feel like, I mean, Hextech Mayhem, I haven't played enough of it because it's very much a mobile game. But
Yeah, me
I
neither.
mean, every single one of the other ones is amazing and worth a playthrough. I realize I talk about Rune King and how I don't like the Viego stuff in there, or Song of Nunu where I don't like that they go down to the Howling Abyss, but both of them as standalone games, 10 out of 10. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Runeterra fan. Like I play a ton of games, Hollow Knight, Subnautica, you name it. All these games are great.
No, yeah, I'm a really big fan of the people who made Song of Nunu. Tequila Works. They made Rhyme, and
Yeah,
I
Song of
freaking
Noon is
love
so
Rhyme.
good.
I'm a big fan of that game. Yeah, and they hit
Yeah, me
like they
too.
hit the mark with Song of Nunu. Like they do not miss either. Tequila Works has always been great. So
Yep.
I was super happy when I heard Riot recruited them, and man, oh man, they put out a very good game with Song of Nunu.
Yeah, and then Mage Seeker, I knew who made that. I think it was Digital Sun. And they had made another game that I really loved, Moonlighter. If you never played Moonlighter, which is the
Oh
only other
shoot.
game that I know from them, I don't know if they made any other games, but Moonlighter is one of my favorite games as well. And that's from the people who made Mage Seeker. Everyone who really got onto these games was already like, for some reason, I was already a fan of them. What was it? Convergence
Yeah,
was made
Riot
by,
definitely knew what they were doing.
yeah, Double Stallion. I didn't hear about them before Convergence, but another great game. Vandaltail, I think, was made by someone that I knew, wasn't it? Oh no, Lazy Bear Games. Yeah, I've never heard of them either before that, but all of them
Yeah, like
hits.
Riot did the
Highly
research.
recommend it
Yeah.
if you're like a Stardew Valley fan. Vandaltail, you'll love it. If you're a Hollow Knight fan, Convergence. Mage Seeker is kind of a different vibe. If you've ever played Moonlighter, you're gonna like that. Turn-based
Oh yeah, it's a
RPGs, Rune
roguelite, isn't it?
King. Mage Seeker, yeah, roguelite, but it's like
Yeah.
top-down roguelite. The only other one I know like that is Moonlighter, but maybe there are others.
Oh, there
And then
definitely are.
Rune
Like,
King
there's an
is a
Hades
turn-based
one too. You played
RPG.
Hades.
Oh yeah, Hades. What the heck? I freaking love Hades. They're coming out with Hades
So
too.
honestly, I was like, dude, there's a lot of them out there right now. Actually, they're very popular. Binding of Isaac, it was like the
Yeah.
trendsetter for it. There's a lot of good
And then
roguelikes out
Song of
there.
Nunu, you got to relate that back to ukulele. If you never played ukulele, that's another one that I
Ukulele.
would
I
easily
mean,
like
wow.
say is amazing.
Fair enough, dude. Yo, it's a hot take these days. People do not like ukulele, but I loved it. It was so good. My
What
God.
kind of sick
But
of person would not like ukulele?
dude, the Banjo Kazooie fans. As a Banjo Kazooie fan, I can't believe people do not like
Ah,
ukulele. It's crazy to
if
me.
you're a Banjo Kazooie fan and you don't like ukulele, that's like the original. You know the original
Poor
Star
game.
Wars, the first three.
Yeah.
Not like the first three in order, but the original ones with the Death Star and Darth Vader and all that. They're a
Yeah.
fan
The
of that,
original
but they didn't
trilogy.
like the prequels with Anakin Skywalker and stuff. And I feel like that if you, the only way you didn't like those ones, the prequels, and liking the originals, the first three that were set in like after Darth Vader, is just because you want it to be special. And I feel like if you like Banjo Kazooie and you don't like ukulele, like you just want to be like, oh, I only like the original stuff because ukulele
Yeah, it's
is a
definitely
great
nostalgia for sure.
Banjo
But yeah, I
Kazooie
love
style
ukulele.
game.
Dude, they're coming out with like a updated version of it, like new content, updated graphics and stuff. I'm honestly probably gonna
No
get it just to
way.
play through ukulele again. Yeah. I
I
think it's
mean, I'll
called
get
like
it
Yuka
too.
Replay. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get that game.
Really?
Yeah, easy.
As long as they don't call it Reforged, it should be good. We
The
don't like
cursed,
Reforged.
the cursed reforged. Oh my god, dude.
And
But yeah,
and
so
that
Song
might
of
be the
Nunu,
greatest
yeah, freaking
segue.
great game.
Oh, go ahead, go
Yeah,
ahead.
honestly.
It'll still
I
be
don't
a
know, I'll
good
just say like
segue.
Song of Nunu, freaking great game. Because yeah, like if you like games like Rhyme or Ico, Ico's one of my favorite game of all time. Easy number one game for me.
Oh
Or
yeah.
even like the Legend of Zelda series, if you're into that.
Ah,
Like
I'm
it's
playing
that
the new
kind
Breath
of
of the
a
Wild.
third person adventure game. I honestly, dude, I never felt Breath of the Wild. That I could talk for hours about how I feel about Breath of the Wild. I was never a fan.
Yeah,
As someone who's
that's
a huge fan of the
mixed
Zelda
bag.
series. Yeah. It was just very different. They broke the mold, and you either like it or you
It is
don't.
very different from the originals.
Yeah,
Like obviously
very different.
Ocarina of Time and the Wind Waker are two of the best ever made, and I feel like it's tough
Oh
to.
God,
Those are
Wind
like
Waker.
mainstays
Oh
that's
my
tough
God,
to
Wind
beat. Like
Waker.
those change the gaming genre altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are kind of those
Oh,
titles,
Ocarina
those
of Time
dramatic of
especially.
titles. So
Yeah,
it's
really changed the
yeah, it's
whole.
tough to like compare those. So because they're in within the Legend of Zelda space, you had to take yourself away from that and say, okay, I'm looking at this game as a separate game within the Legend of Zelda, but by itself. And by itself, I think it's a great game. But yeah, like Wind
Yeah,
Waker
that
is
that's
definitely
fair.
better than
My
both of them.
opinions mostly just come from like, yeah, these dungeons are weak as hell. Like I do not care for them. I miss
Yeah,
having
the
like
dungeons
20
are
different items by
soft.
the end, and knowing how to use all the items together, and it was very like satisfying. But yeah, it's definitely just for me. It was like I'd rather just have a traditional new 3D Zelda game. I think that's where
That's
most of
fair.
my like I'm not into this game comes from. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. You were expecting
Hot take.
something and you didn't get it. If you go in without the expectation, I think it's a good game. But if you try to like compare it to the other Legends of Zelda games, yeah, it will fall short for you.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. It does not stand with the rest. That's for sure.
Now, the best segue you've ever heard on the Brazen Hydra in the history of this show. We said we don't like Reforged, right? We don't. That's and why by
Oh
that
yeah.
I meant Warcraft 3 Reforged. That doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean we don't like Warcraft 3. I
I
remember I was
love
sitting in the
Warcraft 3.
basement. Remember I never played Warcraft 3, like that was ahead of my time. I never really played
Mm-hmm.
it. I was like way too young. But
Yeah.
the Warcraft, you saw me playing it for the first time in the basement, in our basement. Remember? I was like,
Yeah.
I I bought the old titles. This was before they posted them on BattleNet. They had like you can go and buy them digitally. And I went and I bought all of them. I started playing them. They were amazing. Like in terms of telling stories, they were the best way to tell stories. I mean, I that was no wonder World of Warcraft was so big. It was because of Warcraft 3. Not Reforged, the original ones are the ones I'm talking about. And the what I'm trying to say is like they remember in an interview back then, Riot Games said, "Oh, we want to tell stories, but we don't think a MOBA is the best place to tell them." I disagree. Like, yeah, in a battleground, it's not the best way to tell them. Like a PvP rated battleground is not the best place to tell a story, although you can set a theme, like we talked about with Alterac Valley has like a theme to it, and it's technically a canon story, even though it's the actual fight isn't canon. But The way they told the story in Warcraft 3, please do that with League of Legends. Like, give me a story mode, a whole campaign. Like, make it a separate purchase. I want to buy it within League of Legends. I want it to be like a full game, $30, whatever, that I can play through in the Warcraft 3 style where it's top down a story mode. That's what
Yeah,
I
I
want.
mean, like, I guess when they're saying MOBA, they mean like, because like a MOBA is a 5v5 or like 6v6,
Yeah.
however the heck you want to treat it. It's a PvP experience. That's what a MOBA is. While Warcraft 3 is an RTS, it's a real time strategy game,
Yeah.
and that's like that can lean more into single player, which like they did with Warcraft 3. Like I
True.
can see that. Still, I don't think they would do an RTS. They could, definitely possible. They could literally just like use like the League of Legends assets and engine and make it work where you can control the units. Or they could just
Do
make
it.
it like a hero experience, like where you play as a hero that levels up throughout the level in a MOBA style like setting, just without the PvP elements of a MOBA
They did it in
and
Wild
more like
Rift.
linear level design. I could
Yeah.
see that happening.
With the
They could
Callista's
definitely
Odyssey
implement
event,
that.
they did it in Wild Rift, and it was like you were playing as Callista in the end, and it was kind of a game mode, and you're basically playing top down, with the character, and you're doing a bunch of stuff, and you're fighting off waves. So they've already proven that they can do something like that, but I want to see it way more. Like, I don't want to see it as play the MOBA to unlock the sections of the story, which is what Wild Rift the Callisto Odyssey event was. Like, you had to play the MOBA, right? You had to play ranked matches. You got this currency, and with the currency, you could unlock chapters of the story. I want a full fledged within the MOBA, not within League of Legends, like a story mode. That's what I want, and I want them to start telling these stories that the Riot MMO is going to expand upon.
I can definitely see that, and I think we've already talked a lot about how they should integrate more story elements into League via like single player experiences, and just I
Hmm.
feel like that's the best way to start getting people ready for Runeterra. Outside of, I think they've already done the best thing they can do, which is make a very successful TV show. But like, there's still they
Arcane's
could
so
keep it
good.
going. They could keep the ball rolling with this integration of Runeterra lore into their like already very successful IPs like League of Legends. I think it makes the most sense. It's a very easy way to get their massive mainstream audience to start talking about Runeterra and start diving into it and be like, oh wait, there's this whole stinking universe to League of Legends. Like, wow, that's crazy. Let me start reading some short stories. Who's this? Entgrove? Who's that guy? YouTube? Wow. Like at the very bare minimum, it'll get people to start talking about Runeterra. It'll start like the lore will start spreading to people who care about it a lot more. Cause like I think there are a lot of people who would care about Runeterra if they knew it existed and they just don't. Right? Like as
Yeah,
much
people don't know.
as yeah, I genuinely think that Arcane was people's first taste of like, oh yeah, there's a world to this. And they're like, oh wait, there's the League of Legends logo next to the Arcane logo. Huh, that's pretty weird. Oh yeah, look at that. They're connected. It's a whole yeah. There's a lot going on here. Like people are just now
100%.
finding out. So yeah, if they integrate a single player like very story driven experience in League of Legends, I think it'll just bring even more people into this Runeterra universe, getting them ready for the MMO.
I can guarantee you there are people who watch Arcane that still don't know that there's a game called League of Legends, that the world of Arcane is based out of. Like, the League of Legends game is based on
Oh
this world,
yeah,
and Arcane is based on this world. There are people that still have no idea. That's how big Arcane got. Arcane, I
yeah,
think,
it's
is bigger
crazy.
than even
Arcane really
Riot
reached out
expected.
far. Yeah, oh definitely, absolutely. Like it got so far out of even just like it got far out of the video game community, like in general, like the gaming community. It left that. It went straight into mainstream. Like it went into anybody who like is into like anime and like any kind of like more like mature cartoons, that'll have more serious tones. Anybody who's into that, and that's like a very general wide audience. It like Arcane is for them, and it reached
It
them,
freaking won
which is
awards.
insane to me. Yeah, dude, like it's yeah, it definitely blew up way beyond their imagination. That's for sure. Because yeah, at first that League of Legends logo next to the Arcane logo is to be like, hey, League of Legends people, check this out. and now it's more like the League of Legends logo is next to Arcane, and it's like, hey, Arcane fans, you can play League of Legends. Like Jinx is in that. Like the tables turned.
Like here's how crazy it is. Here's how crazy Arcane has gotten and how big as it's gotten. So in IMBD, the score for it is out of 279K people who rated the show, IMBD rating is 9 out of 10.
My
And then in
God.
Rotten Tomato, the average tomatoer score is 100%, and the average audience score is 96%.
Jeez.
The tomatoers are
The
like the
perfect
actual
show.
critics. And
Hmm.
critics are brutal, brutal with video game adaptations. Like, look up
Oh,
Assassin's Creed, look up Warcraft, look up any video game adaptation you can ever think of in the past. These movies get destroyed.
yeah.
Arcane's the
Oh,
first.
yeah.
Arcane is easily the best video game adaptation ever in the history of like video game adaptations to TV shows. Arcane wins by miles and miles and miles.
I can honestly see that. I'm trying to think of anything. I can't really think of anything that tops it. Like,
No, nothing comes close. I'm gonna watch it again. Man, I need to stop watching it, but I like it's my perfect night show, and I just keep watching over and over again. But I've caught a lot of things that I missed in the first couple pass throughs. But yeah, I'm super excited for the next season of Arcane.
oh yeah, yeah. You
It's
got
honestly
to
because I'm
prep
missing
up.
something. I'm like missing Runeterra. Like I keep playing Legends of Runeterra, the Path of Champions, but I miss the Riot Forge games. I miss like being able to
Yeah, actually,
experience the
like an
actual
actual
world
immersive experience. Yeah, inside the world
experience.
of
Yeah.
Runeterra. I agree. It's like until the MMO comes out, we will not have a way to directly access Runeterra, you know, and to actually be
Hmm.
in that world. There's really not much out there that gives you that, except for the Riot Forge titles, and you can only really experience those so many times, you know.
Yep. So uh just like how you're saying, like you can only experience that stuff every once so many times, and there's only so much right now out in the world of Runeterra. So we actually have, so me and Conquest are brothers. A lot of people don't know this, that we actually have a third brother, Samicus.
Ah,
He streams
yes.
a lot of like World of Warcraft stuff, and he's like World of Warcraft crazy fan, always playing WoW. I got him like the War Within Collector's Edition for his birthday. That this guy loves World of Warcraft, and he was telling
He
me like,
loves World
oh,
of
it's a
Warcraft.
lull right now, like not a lot of people are talking about World of Warcraft. I was like, oh yeah, it feels the same on this side.
That's only because there's freaking nothing.
I was like, oh yeah, bro, it's just the same over here. Yeah, no one's really talking about it right now.
Dude, we're not even at like the
There's not a lot of
starting
news.
line yet. We're not. We're still stretching, my guy.
It's like, oh man, feelings mutual. We'll see if stuff picks up for us.
Yeah, dude, 2027.
Yeah,
Well, we'll see
yeah,
if it picks up by
2027 gonna
then.
be too hype, bro.
Dude, 2027, we're gonna get the whole like base game, dude. That's gonna be the biggest expansion. The entire MMO is dropping in 2027. That's where we'll get all the
I'm t-
core mechanics like running forward and moving the camera. There's gonna be a lot of big stuff in that update.
oh yeah, moving the camera, that's a big one.
Yeah,
Man,
dude.
the next thing I'm looking forward to is definitely 2XKO, like the alpha. But I feel like that's all I have to look forward to. I mean, they're releasing stuff. Don't get me wrong. Like I have the Wild Rift. They have the well, I so we can talk a little bit about Wild Rift too. They have like the patch 5.2 preview, which looks good. I'm a fan of Wild Rift, and I think a lot of the stuff in Wild Rift is better than actually League of Legends. Like when I play League of Legends, it's too freaking long. Like it's too long of a game. I mean, 30-minute
Wait, really?
game
How long
with
are the
the first
games?
10
Oh,
minutes
okay.
is dragging. It's like I have to, okay, I don't even know if we're gonna the first 10 minutes is basically always the same. It's always exactly the same. There's nothing really, unless someone's stupid and pushes too hard. Uh it's pretty boring, the first 10
Oh
minutes.
yeah.
Then the second 10
I
minutes
think
is
that's true
all
for every
action.
MOBA. Yeah.
Yeah, and the second 10 minutes is all action. It's really exciting. Like that decides who's going to win the game. The last 10 minutes is you one
Is winning
side
or losing the
landslide at the
game.
other. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I,
and
I think
losing in
every
most
MOBA
cases.
follows that trend, right? Where the early game is always gonna be really methodical because like you're just sitting in lane doing your thing, like whatever your hero needs to do for that early game, you're doing it. Like I think unless you're support, especially like the game is very methodical early game. Mid game, yeah, you're right. That's where things teeter one way or the other. And then late game is like depending on your team comp, you might be a very late heavy team, where you just have a lot of good late game champions or heroes or whatever the heck mobile you're playing. To where you can maybe shift things over to your side and like turn things around and win the game, or you don't, and then you just start losing from like minute 20 onward. I
Yeah.
think
And it's the same
I think
thing.
most mobiles are going to go that way. Yeah, like most matches. But what's crazy is that I still have over 1,000 hours in Dota, and yeah, most matches felt the same to me. And yet there I was hitting play again, baby. Like MOBAs just have that addicting feeling to them. But yeah, you're saying that um, that this other MOBA is much more like just faster games.
Yeah, so I agree with you 100% that the in essence a MOBA is addicting. Like you always want to just play another game, another game, another game, even if it took 30 minutes. Like I could easily
Yeah,
go a
it's
whole
really easy
day
to
on
jump
League of
back in.
Legends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying I can't do that, but I don't always have like all day to do 30-minute game, 20-minute queue, 10-minute queue, whatever, and then another 30-minute game. Wild Rift is so much faster paced. Like it's so much faster. Even the games, like the maximum a game is 20 minutes, and it's never a landslide, and you always have a chance to come back. Like it always feels like I can, like even if you're getting pushed and they pushed all of your towers up for the last ones, you could do one amazing push and push the whole game just because the map is smaller, much smaller. And then I feel like I get more of my you select your preference, like you pick the role that you want, which I always pick jungler, even in League of Legends. But in League of Legends, I feel like a lot of times I don't get jungler. In Wild Rift, almost pretty much every game I'm getting jungler, which is what I want to play.
That's so interesting. I wonder if it's just like like different audience. Like different people are going to gravitate towards the two different games. Because yeah, I feel like jungler is always a very
Maybe.
popular role in every MOBA. Like people like that feeling of like control over the game and getting those early kills. Like I think most people
Yeah, I
like
love
that. Most
jungler.
people, yeah, dude, I agree. Jungler is very fun, and Smite, I love jungler. But yeah, I'm really surprised that Wild Rift does not have that that everyone jumping for that role, like how it usually
Yeah,
is.
I don't know what it is. Like I don't know if still people are jumping for the role, but I'm always getting my preference, which is jungler. And then there's less levels. In League of Legends, the level's 18, the cap. In Wild Rift, it's 15. And I feel like that makes a huge difference. I feel like I'm leveling faster too. The whole game just feels sped up. And then it looks better. It legit looks better. Everything looks better. All the models. Like I wish for a lot of the times for my videos, I rip the League of Legends models. I wish I could rip the Wild Rift models because they're 100 times better. They're more detailed, they look better, their interactions are better, everything. If you look up a video of like a Wild Rift character, you'll see what I mean. Like they need to move these characters into League of Legends. It looks like a different game. I mean,
Dude,
this
I've never
feels
thought
like that's
about
the
this.
actual character, and League of Legends looks like a character of from 10 years ago.
Yeah, I've never thought about this, but I just looked up when League of Legends came out, and it was 2009. So this is running on a
Yeah.
2009 engine, where I mean, like, granted, it's a MOBA, right? So it's not like there's a bunch of assets they need to render at any given point in time. Like, it's not like it's anything too insane. But I'm guessing they just cannot have anything that high fidelity because it's just an old game at this point in League of Legends.
Yeah, I mean, even it's everything. Like, yeah, maybe that's what it is because even when you're interacting, like when you're doing stuff with the different characters, it feels it feels smoother. Like the whole game just feels a bit more smooth and buttery and like everything feels more I feel like more like I'm punching something. Like if I'm playing Lee Sin and I'm punching something, it feels like, oh, I'm really doing that. But then
Yeah, there's more
I play the
impact.
same character. Yeah. And I play the same character in League of Legends, doesn't feel the same. It feels more
Mm.
static and like choppy.
Huh. So, like, how long is the average
Wild
game in
Rift,
Wild Rift?
15 to 20 minutes.
Oh, okay, that's a huge difference. That is
Yeah,
genuinely like
yeah,
a
no, it
world of a
is. And
difference.
yeah, it's much faster. And the whole game is faster. Like everything about it is faster. Getting leveling up feels faster. Getting the gear feels faster. Killing mobs feels faster. The team fights, everything feels like quicker. I don't know.
Oh, man.
I
Huh.
get like a lot of people don't like the touch interface, which I do not play on my phone. I could never play this game on my phone. I definitely play it on the
Yeah,
iPad,
that'd be
like a nice
nasty.
big display. and I like it.
Oh, that's fair. Like, so like, do you not have any like peripherals, or are you straight up using touchscreen? Because
Yeah, I
honestly,
use
I
my
can't
iPad.
imagine that's wild to me. That's the wild and wild rift is that you're using touchscreen. That's freaking insane to me. I'm gonna be honest, I can't imagine. But I mean, I guess like
You know
as
what they
a
should
like
do?
playing a MOBA, like how many buttons are you really pushing, right? Like you have your
Yeah,
four
no, not that
abilities. You need
many.
to control the camera, I'm assuming. So you're probably just like swiping around to control the camera to
Yeah,
like
you
see what's
lit.
going on the map.
Yeah, and honestly, the controls feel amazing. Like you got the three abilities. You can see their how much whatever energy you. I mean, like mana each one's taking or the cooldowns and all that. And you can choose, like you have three attack buttons depending on what's by you. So you can either manually like aim each shot, or you can press to auto attack a minion, the closest minion, or auto attack the nearest tower. When the tower comes close to you, like the button appears and then it'll disappear when you're not by the tower. So it's really good at showing you only what you need when you need it. And then when you buy an item, let's say you buy an item that has an ability, like that ability button will show up, but otherwise it won't be there. So you know how
Oh,
like all
they
your
got
gear
active items
always,
too. That's crazy for a
yeah, yeah,
mobile
yeah. No,
MOBA.
I'm telling you, it's a freaking great game. Okay, I don't want to say, I don't want to
That's
like
insane to me.
get too much heat on me because I feel like it's a very, very hot take. It's better than League of Legends.
No, don't worry. Most League players
Yeah,
hate League of Legends. I don't think that's like too crazy for you to say. I think you're fine.
yeah, that's so true. Yeah, they all hate the game anyways. But bro, I'm telling you, Wild Rift is very fun.
Wait, can you not play Wild Rift like on your computer? Is that like with
No,
buttons? Man, they got
yeah,
to do
no, you
that.
can't.
They got to get on that. I mean, I guess like they don't want to like step on the toes of League of Legends, maybe, but that's just man, dude. I like my analog buttons. I'm gonna be honest. I like clickety clacks. That's me.
Well, here's what I will say. If you want the clickety clack, I think that there will eventually be Wild Rift. I know they announced it a long time ago saying that, oh, it'll eventually come to console, which it has not yet. I really hope to see Wild Rift on Xbox and PlayStation and the Switch.
Ooh.
I think it'd
Honestly,
be
on the
great on
Switch would make
those.
a lot of sense because I'm sure it'll run great on the Switch if it can run on. Actually, the Switch is weaker than my phone, so I don't know. Never mind. I was gonna say if it runs on a phone, it can
Man,
definitely run on the Switch. But genuinely, no, I have played mobile games on the Switch that have a hard time running compared to my phone. It's happened.
yeah. As
But
Switch
still,
docked
if
mode
there's
is pretty
any
rough.
league, yeah, honestly. But hey, if there's any Riot game, I think like outside of the Riot Forge titles that could make it onto the Switch and look good, it would be Wild Rift. Or well, that or the
So
card game,
I
right?
searched
Legends of
up.
Runeterra.
Yeah, that's true. Legend of Runeterra too. But so I searched up. I was like, is there like an anticipated release date for when Wild Rift will be released on console? And then just recently, there's another Reddit post saying, "Is this game ever going to launch on consoles or what?" It's been 4 years since it released, and the website still says coming soon on consoles. Does it? Let me see.
Wait, what? It's like they confirmed that it will come to console. I mean, if it has
Yeah,
like gamepad functionality, I'm cool with it, dude. Even if I can hook up my gamepad to my phone via Bluetooth, which like you can do with an Xbox controller. If that is what I need to do to play Wild Rift with a controller, I'll do it. I like having buttons. That's all I need.
yeah,
Well,
no,
actually, come to think of it,
you could
controlling the
definitely
camera
play
might be a
this.
nightmare. I don't know.
I
I'm
definitely
not sure
can
how a
see it.
top-down MOBA would work on like with a
With
gamepad. I'm curious.
no, no, it would work. It would definitely work, especially like I can definitely see with the joysticks and everything, and then with the buttons. The only thing is actually because the way that they do it on the mobile, right? On the there's like you'll press the ability and you hold the ability, and then a little arrow will show up around your character, and then you'll drag to aim it, right? Because the active
Hmm.
ability, you can't just press it. And so I don't know how you'd be able to aim and press like the A button at the same time because you have to press A for the ability, but you also have to aim like the arrow. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that
Maybe
might
that's why
be
it's taking so long.
difficult. I mean, the only thing I can think of is like if I'm guessing, is there like a like an auto attack? Do you have a button dedicated to auto attack?
Yeah.
So I would imagine you select the ability, use right joystick to aim, and then press your auto attack button, which could be like right trigger to use your ability. That'd be
Yeah.
my
That would be
guess.
much slower though. They'd get wrecked by anyone playing on a mobile because you're pressing the auto, you're pressing the ability, then you're aiming it, then you're pressing the shoot button. Versus me, I'm just pressing once, dragging to aim, and letting go, and that shoots it.
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, this releases on PC and we have a mouse and keyboard, honestly. Because I don't think MOBAs, outside of Smite, I don't think MOBAs are made for, like, for gamepad. But honestly, I think I would
Yeah.
still prefer it over touchscreen, but that's just more like an aesthetic thing for me.
Hmm.
Like, I'll die, you know? I'll call Star Team the game because I want to play on a gamepad. And yeah, controlling the camera sounds like a nightmare on a gamepad. But hey,
Yeah.
if
Oh,
they
geez.
if they wanna if they wanna spread this out to other platforms, I'm cool with that. I'd probably try it out if that were the case.
But I think that makes sense as to why we like literally just came to the revelation. I think that's why they pulled. They were saying it makes sense. Like they looked at it and they said we need to bring this to council, and they said we're going to figure it out. But then at the same time, it became with the more they tried to do it, the more they realized it doesn't work.
Yeah, who knows? It could also just be like they had a team working on it at some point, team fell apart, or they had like, something changed and now it's just like in development hell. I always feel like that's the most likely cause for any like video game is that it's just like, yeah, they were working on it, but then people stuff happened and now the team's no longer working on it and it's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah. Well, also like I will say this as well. I feel like Wild Rift does a lot more in terms of the events. Like the events feel just a bit crazier. For example, League of Legends, I feel like all their events are, look at all these skins they're coming with this event. Versus in Wild Rift, they just change stuff. Like they have like something called a T hex meta. So you can kill this mob in the middle, right? In the middle of the map, and I always forget the name of it, but I'm always the one to kill it because I'm the jungler. And then what you do when you press the button for after you kill it, you get like a button, an active ability. And when you press it, it summons this creature, and then it'll push the lane. It'll like literally it headbutts into towers. It does a lot of damage, like you summon a boss. It's in League of Legends. It's
Oh.
in Wild Rift. But with Wild Rift, they literally just changed it. Like the Wild Rift patch 5.2, they changed it. It's supposed to be Piltover, Hex Tech kind of themed. And so they changed it to a T Hex because it's Hex Tech and it's like
Oh
basically a
my
T
god.
Rex, but it's a robotic. It's called T Hex and it launches missiles while it's going down the lane. And you can control it.
But you control it directly? That's cool.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. And I'm pretty sure, yeah. Yeah, you control it, you get abilities and everything.
Oh my god,
A
dude.
laser
We
jetting
did.
T
Oh,
Rex. It's called T Hex.
jeez. We talked about this like a little bit before, especially when it comes to like Heroes of the Storm. I love me some just straight chaos in MOBAs. Mix it up, dude. Throw in the T Hex. Hell yeah. If people
Yeah.
don't like it, that's on them. All right. Throw release the T Hex upon the community. I do not care. It sounds like so much fun.
I'm telling you, man, I feel like
Like,
Wild Rift is more open to that kind of stuff and like changing things. I mean, there's the little things that you do see in League of Legends where they'll change the Baron Nashor. Like he looks a little different, but you won't see a T Hex in League of Legends, I feel.
yeah, and
Like
like
that's only in Wild
Dota 2 is
Rift.
the same way, right? Like Dota 2, they'll change the map slightly. Like they'll move a
Yeah.
shop to a different location, or like recently they just expanded the map as a whole. Like they just made the whole map bigger, and now there's jungles on the outside of the lanes as well as like in between the lanes. They do stuff like that, but it's not going to be here's a giant monster in the middle of the stinking map. If you kill it, it will now run down the lane and start wreaking havoc upon the enemy tower. Like that, they never throw like just like tip the game on its head. They're kind of afraid to change the like core objectives of the game, which
Yeah.
is
I
kind of
think it's just
sad to
become
me.
so competitive that they don't want to like it's such a competitive scene now that if they change,
Yeah.
imagine they change stuff, everyone's gonna be like, well, I lost rank and because this freaking
Because
T
of
Hex
this
came out of
TX.
nowhere, I don't know how to deal with it, you know? I can
I
see
was
it
just
like
farming in lane, soaking up the minions, and this T Hex comes in, destroys everything.
you know what I mean? Like I
Pushed
can
all the way
100%
down to
see
my
it.
tower. No, dude, I
You can
love
see it
that.
too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I mean, the thing is, if I get rocked by that, I would just like, it'd be too funny for me to get angry. Maybe it's just because I've played so much of Dota that I've become very desensitized to like getting just completely like bulldozed, or like the feeling of like, oh man, I totally got robbed of this game. You know, like, oh, this hero's overpowered, no wonder I lost, blah blah blah. Like I'm so used to that kind of stuff that like I no longer get mad if I'm like just getting washed. So, but if the T Hex does it, then I'm at least enjoying myself. Then I'm having a good time because I'm like, this freaking dinosaur just came in and ruined my whole game.
See, but I think it's amazing, and that's what I love to see. I love to see the chaos, like the
Yeah, I
changing. Like
love
feels
the
like okay, now
chaos,
it's a
dude.
full new game mode.
Yeah, please. I would love more of that in MOBAs. Just some more stupid fun. But that's definitely, yeah, you're right. That goes directly against the MOBA community. The MOBA community does not want that. They want consistency, you know? They want like an
Yeah, they
actual
do.
proper I feel like MOBA players want like the same thing as like a sport, like an actual real life sport, you know, like baseball. People do not want the T Hex showing up in baseball. That'll ruin the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
they
fair,
want a
fair.
consistent sport where you're learning how to play and you're constantly improving and you're learning the game, you're getting better at it, and you're always like playing the same thing over and over again essentially to improve. Like people do
Maybe
not
we're the
want it constantly
oddballs.
being mixed up. Huh?
Maybe we're the oddballs. Maybe that's yeah.
Oh,
The
we
majority of
are.
people just want
We
like the
definitely are.
standard format. I want the chaos. Like I want to see something crazy happen. I want to see
Me
stuff
too.
get changed up. Like I want to log back into Wild Rift, and my whole goal, at least for the first 5 games, I guarantee you, is going to be to get the T Hex. That's everything that's all I'm
Yeah.
going to want to do.
It's so good. But you know what's I think this is our opinion about a lot of games like this. Like MMOs, we feel the exact same way too. Where I want a giant freaking like watcher born creature to show up in the middle of Demacia and start killing people in the MMO. I want that to happen,
Yeah,
and I think it would be amazing. But I also think majority of people would hate that. They're sitting in their auction house, or they're looking at their bank with all of this like the stuff they've made on their character. They don't want to be interrupted by this giant freaking monster coming in and destroying the city. Like, but me, I live for that. I want that so bad. I want some chaos in my MMO. I want some random stuff to be going on while I'm just leveling. Like I want to die to some giant monster when I least expect it. I think that's so cool. It makes the world feel dangerous. Feels like I'm never safe. And I think that's great. And it makes me want to group up with people so I don't die as much. You know, there's a whole bunch of little stuff like that I'm like, dude, like be a little uncomfortable in your game, you know? You don't always have to feel safe and know exactly what's going to happen. But that's
yeah.
just
We
me
enjoy
and
like
how I feel
not
about
knowing what
video
to
games.
expect every time.
Yeah, I want to be on my toes. Like I want to feel dangerous, and I want to constantly be surprised by what's going on around me. Whether that's in singing Wild Rush or the Runeterra MMO, I want to be constantly just thrown off by whatever the heck's happening around me. It makes things more exciting, makes things more thrilling, makes me want to come back to the
I
game and be like,
agree.
what the heck did they do this time? What did those developers do to my game this time?
I hope they do stuff like that with 2XKO. I don't want to see 2XKO get into like a boring monotonous where it's just the same thing every single time. Like I want to see some different game modes where it's where they change it up. And then I also I wanted to mention that I did get into the survey. And this is where I was talking about where I saw that they said where I was like, okay, they're definitely pushing towards some PvE mode, which there's a chance that they don't. There's a chance that it's just the fighter and it's the fighter, like League of Legends is the MOBA and that's it. I hope not. But one of the questions on the survey it says I enjoy immersing myself in a different world through a story or a virtual world to explore.
Ooh,
That's the question. I,
a
I wonder,
virtual
like
world to
that.
explore.
Hey,
Hmm.
you know what it made me think of? You know the Dragon Ball Z like fighter area, like you have that like
Like the
arena
little,
area and you run to the different. You
yeah,
know
the
what I'm
little
talking
like hub
about?
world. I like it. Yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
hub world
I
is
like
nice.
the hub world. I
Me
would love
too.
to see like a little hub world in there, and you could run to like the story mode or whatever. Pick your favorite
Yeah, why
character or
not?
like customize your
Yeah, little
Vistaya or your
avatars, dude.
human or your
Yeah, and you like unlock different like
uh
you unlock new avatars. Like I always liked that
jeez.
in fighters.
Yeah,
It's
and
nice.
right above that, right above that question, it says, I want to express my creativity by customizing my character and building things like a city or a farm. I
What
don't
the
know
heck?
what that
Are we
could.
still talking about 2XKO?
This is the survey from 2XKO. This is before. So when you sign up for the alpha, first you sign up. Okay, then they send you. They say we're going to send you a survey that you have to answer. It's good. We're going to send it to your email, which is probably they do it separate to like eliminate the bots because now they're going to have to send
Yeah,
it
I
to
can
an
see that.
email.
Yeah, no, they actually have to
Then you have
go
to
through a
log on
whole
and answer a
survey.
bunch of questions. Like yeah, but then I'm reading the questions and it's so here are all the questions. It's this is like after when you finish the survey, you can either click end or you can say or asks you, do you want to answer more questions? If you choose to answer more questions, this is where it takes you. And there's ones
Okay, this
like
is where you start getting the farming stuff. If you want to
yeah,
answer more
is
questions.
yeah, you say like how well do these statements describe you when it comes to playing the video game? And it has like does not describe me at all the way to describe me very well. I like to earn or acquire a large collection of characters or items. I enjoy having my skills recognized by other players. I want to be able to show my creativity through my gameplay. I enjoy working with others to achieve things together. I like to challenge myself with goals that are difficult to accomplish. I enjoy coming up with new and different strategies. I want to achieve a high rank or score. And then these were where I was like, oh, what the heck? I want to express my creativity by customizing my character or building things like a city or a farm. And I enjoy immersing myself in a different world through story or virtual world to explore.
Dude,
And there are a
okay.
couple
I
others.
know. I know that we are the two most Runeterra MMO brained people in the world right now, but a lot of these questions sound like they're talking about the Runeterra MMO.
A little bit. A little bit.
Right? I mean,
It's
like,
like
great, yourself, like, oh, like I care about my rank, stuff like that. I'm like, okay, that's 2XKO. They're talking about 2XKO. Or like really any competitive title that they have right now, which is a lot for
mhm.
Riot. But then you got farming, and you got a virtual world going on. And you got like
I want to
I
collect
care
with
about
other players over a shared
yeah,
experience. It's another question.
yeah, grouping up with other players, not that's not 2XKO, and you don't have a choice in League, unfortunately for most people. So this I feel like it has to be talking about the MMO. I don't know what other title they have that or even upcoming title they have that would relate to that. So and we know how much they're reconsidering their like core structure for the MMO, right? With how they decided to pull back on what they already had, saying it was too much like MMOs are already out there. They're clearly thinking a lot about this in terms of how they want to make a satisfying experience for people in this new MMO. So seeing this
Oh
survey
yeah.
now, as timely as it is, after those statements, I feel like it has to be about the MMO. But then again, I'm very Riot MMO brained, so I could be a little
Yeah.
biased when saying that.
It, it's like when someone says, what do you, don't think of purple elephants, don't think of purple elephants, but that's all I see now, right? Because you're just
Yeah,
thinking about it all the time.
yeah, exactly. It's like I'm trying not to relate everything to the Riot MMO, but like, you know, I calls it like I sees it, and I'm seeing the Riot MMO in these questions. One thing I really appreciate though is that they, if this is about the Riot MMO, one thing I really appreciate is they put a focus on wanting to be recognized by the community for your achievements. That's something that I think is
Yeah, that
great.
was in there.
Yeah, I like that a lot because in order have that, to have that feeling of being able to express your achievements to the community, you have to have achievements that not everybody can get. You have to have difficult achievements that will actually show on your character. And that to me is very important for an MMO. Extremely important. So to hear that they're thinking about that, if this is about the right MMO, then that's great. I think that's definitely a step in the right direction. Something they should absolutely consider.
Yeah, I'm sure all these specific survey questions, maybe they sprinkled in some rider remote questions just to gauge the player base. I mean, supposedly these are for two XKO, like that's what the alpha survey is for. Maybe they sprinkled some rider remote questions in there, but what I'm really thinking with these questions definitely is that we'll have a PvE mode and something to do, maybe like a shared virtual world area, like a hub world, and hopefully you create your character because it talks about customizing your character. So we'll be able to customize like our Runeterra character and then have like a hub world where we can go into PvE, PvE, story mode, different game modes like that, which makes me think
Yeah.
of like that Dragon Ball Z hub world that there was, Dragon Ball Fighters.
Yeah. That's true. But also, I mean, what's thrown me off a lot, what really threw me off for these being 2xKO questions is the group question that you'd want to
Yeah,
group up with
right.
other players. When when in a fighting game have you ever grouped up with other players? Like, what? Are you going on expeditions with your fellow stick fighting friends? Like, I don't get it.
Because I feel like two people is like a team. You'd call it a team. You wouldn't call it a group.
Yeah, I feel like group has to be more than two people. Like, you're not just like grabbing a friend. This is not like a co-op experience. This is a group experience.
Yeah.
I feel like that's very
So
different.
basically, yeah. So basically, what we're saying is that this isn't a 2xKO survey. This is a RiotMMO survey. That's what we're saying, guys.
This is
So
the
that's where we're
first
at.
ever Riot MMO survey. Yeah,
RiotMMO survey confirmed.
yeah. So guys, looks like it's gonna be group content. There's gonna be farming. We're gonna have to talk about that. You're gonna be able to build your own cities. That's pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to that. Lots of good content coming our way for the Riot MMO. Really excited.
Man, I see. I need something. I need something out of this. Like I'm excited for the 2xKO
Man.
game. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm excited for the alpha.
Yeah, but it's not a
I'm
Riot
I'm
MMO.
I'm enjoying.
It's not Runeterra.
Yeah, I'm enjoying Wild Rift. I really am. Like Wild Rift, the look of it, the feel of it, everything. I love playing Wild Rift on the iPad. I don't know how you play it on a phone. I definitely could never do that, even
Yeah,
with
it
a
sounds
large phone.
miserable.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying it. It looks amazing. I'm enjoying Legend of Runeterra: The Path of Champions. But damn it, I need something that gets me into the world. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy that they built up this whole world and there's no real way to immerse ourselves in it outside of stuff that we've already experienced. To like, especially
Hmm.
there's nothing on the horizon, right? Like, I don't think there's like after 2xKO, what do we got? I don't think we
I
have
think there's an
anything, right?
unannounced like
Oh, there's that
turn-based
unannounced
4X
RPG.
game. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a Project F,
Project
which
F.
people think
Yeah,
might be like Genshin Impact kind of style or something like that. Then there's the turn-based 4X RP. But these are all like,
they
those
seem
are
like they're
not even
pretty
something that
far
people aren't
off,
supposed to be
and
aware of.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
these are still
those are in the
very in
dungeon.
development. Yeah, we don't have a name for these games yet, so they're probably a ways away. Would be my guess. Like not
Oh
2024 at
yeah.
all. So it's
You know,
interesting to
you know
think
what's
about.
funny?
Hmm.
It was always called Project L, Project L, Project L. I thought it was gonna stick. Like the name was gonna come out and I was gonna be still thinking Project L.
At this
But
point, I think
2XKO
2xKO.
stuck with me.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised too. I thought I'd still be calling it Project L, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I still, honestly, I still think 2xKO is a kind of weird name. It doesn't roll off the tongue very well, but it is now what I think of. Like when I see the game, like that is 2xKO. So they got that
Hmm.
far.
The name is definitely simple. It's like 2X because you're two players on each team, and KO because that's your goal. 2X KO. Like
That's the
I get
goal.
where the name
Yeah,
comes
yeah. In
from.
case you get
I
confused, that's why you
Yeah,
play the
I
game.
understand.
That's how you
It
win.
wasn't like a random letter organizer and you just put a number in front of it because XKO was taken or something. That didn't
Yeah, but I
happen.
do
There's
wish it
definitely
was
some
like a little
intention
more.
there.
I do wish it was a little more like Runeterra y though. You know, like more
They
Runeterra
better not
related
waste the name
somehow.
of Runeterra. The Runeterra name needs to stick for
Can you
Runeterra
imagine?
only.
Can you imagine they used the name Runeterra for a 2D fighter? Jesus
They
Christ.
better not waste it on anything. I don't want to see it on this turn-based 4X game. I don't want to see it on Project F. I want to see just the name Runeterra needs to be reserved for the RiotMMO and for it to just be called Runeterra.
I agree. It's such a perfect name. Honestly, I'm surprised there are not more MMOs out there where the name is just the world. Like, 'cause I just feel like it's a genius idea. Because I don't know why it just works. It feels like, yeah, like I want to go there. I want to go to a place called Runeterra. That sounds cool. The only other one I could think of is Toon Town.
Oh, Toon Town, man.
It's the only other
Toontown
MMO I know
hit.
that has
I
the
don't care what
name
anyone
of the
says.
place.
Toontown hit. I played it
I
recently.
still play Toon Town. It still hits. That's like my
Yeah.
like
Sometimes I
that.
just
That
need
is
some.
my turn brain off game, and it does it very well. It does a very good job at that. It's so peaceful. I love
Yeah.
it.
Sometimes I just want to ride the trolley and collect jelly beans. Buy some
Yeah,
pies,
dude.
go hit up some cogs.
Man, I love like all the textures in that game too. Like I love going back to my house, like your whole like estate. Dude, that game's peaceful. That game is such a vibe. I love it. Shout
You
out
get
to
your little
Toontown
pet.
Rewritten. What an amazing way to revive the game. Yeah, and you have your pet. Oh man.
Yeah,
Oh man.
what's the new? It's Toontown remade or
Toontown
something like that.
Rewritten.
Rewritten.
that's like
Yeah,
the
it's very good.
that is the like current fan, like, keeping up the servers and even updating the game occasionally with new content. There's also Corporate Clash, which is like they're actually trying to make the game like have depth with like, like new
Yeah, they're adding
combat and
stuff.
everything. Yeah, it's like it's a whole new game basically. But I don't know, dude. I love Rewritten. I love the simplicity of old Toontown. Like I'm going there to just experience Toontown. And it's just a good vibe. It's a good time.
Let's talk about this. Conquest, I want to talk to you about Toontown. We're going to talk about next time what made Toontown great. Like we always get stuck on World of Warcraft. There are other MMOs that me and you should talk about that
Dude, I'm
and
down
see
for
like
that.
what's really good from there and what we could pull from that into like a Riot MMO. Like what can you pull from
Actually,
Toontown
yes.
that would make help the yeah, we're going to talk about that. What made it great? So we'll
Yeah.
talk about that next week.
All right. Oh, count me in, dude. We're gonna turn Runeterra into stinking Toontown.
Bro,
These like freaking watchers are actually cog towers. Did you not know that? Cellbot headquarters at
bro.
the bottom of the abyss. Did you not know
I
that?
did feel like the world was changing. But okay, we're talking about this next time. I hope you enjoy this episode. I and Conquest are going to go run a cog. What was it called? Cog Towers?
Cog
What were they
towers? Heck
called?
yeah, dude. Yeah, we're gonna hit up cog
Were
towers.
they
Yep.
called Cog Towers?
Yeah, and then they got like the big dungeons, which are like the HQs, where every type of bot
Oh yeah, the
had a
HQs.
headquarters, and those were like the raids
Yeah,
essentially.
the
Dude,
headquarters.
actually, hold up, cog towers, like places getting turned, like taken over that you have to change
Yes.
back into tune. Dude, it actually would be sick though for the right MMO.
Save it.
Hold
Save
up,
it for next
no, I was
week.
saving it
Save
in the
it for
back
next week.
pocket.
Okay.
You're hearing it next week.
Yeah. We need to go play it a little bit just to jog our memory and explore the game. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I and Conquest are going to go ride the trolley. We'll continue this conversation in the next one, right here in the Brazen Hydra pub in Bilgewater. You can find me at Entgroves on social and YouTube.
And you can find me at Conquest95 on Twitter.
And to stay up to date on the goings on for this podcast specifically, you can follow us at the Brazen Hydra on Twitter, where you can add us questions or just topics to talk about. You can also find us at thebrazenhydra.com. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one.